First, there was singularity. Singularity became chaos, and chaos became
Sí,
structure.
escuché, te escuché.
Structure became cause. Cause became effect, and effect became relations. So God saw it was okay. Nah, sorry, just kidding. Relations became trade. Trade brought debt, and debt became
Dale.
commodities. Commodities became gold. Gold brought banks. And banks created notes. And everyone was happy. Or that's what we thought. Notes became currency. Currency became fiat. And fiat became paper. Paper brought abuse. Abuse brought bubbles. And bubbles became empty. Empty became loss. Loss became chaos. And chaos became bailouts. End of the story. No.
Uy,
Bailouts brought Bitcoin. Bitcoin removed paper. Bitcoin removed abuse. And Bitcoin brought blockchain. Blockchain restored trust. Trust restored hope. And hope became revolution. Revolution is understood
Esto
at
se
the
sale, esto se me
BitConf,
sale
the
acá.
main Bitcoin
Ahí está.
and blockchain conference in Latin America.
sí.
Ingresá al mundo de Bitcoin y las criptomonedas. Comprá, recibí
Gracias a todos por acompañarnos. Estamos a minutos de dar inicio con la primera ponencia.
en decrypto.la.
Nadie se acordaba. Hola, hola. Está prendido. Vamos.
HODL HODL, a global P2P Bitcoin trading platform that doesn't hold your funds. At HODL HODL, you don't need to go through complex KYC or AML procedures. We don't have access to your funds. You control the funds in escrow with your key. HODL HODL, your keys, your coins.
In 2019,
Hola, hola. ¿Cómo están? Buenos días. Bueno, saben que hoy es el día, la principal, casi todas las charlas van a ser en inglés, así que ahora voy a pasar inglés para toda la gente que nos está siguiendo desde el resto del mundo y Latinoamérica. Pero bueno, quería saludarlos primero en español y darles la bienvenida. Si alguno quiere el traductor, creo que hay dispositivos para la traducción. So today we're going to talk about why Bitcoin. Are the slides passing, guys? Can we see the slides in the screen, please? There are like 25 people running like crazy behind the scenes, so don't worry. So the idea of this talk, when we discussed with Rodo, was why is Bitcoin so important? Why we at La BitConf understood almost a decade ago that Bitcoin could become very important and relevant for the future of Latin America. Guys, can we see the slides, please? Okay, there we go. Yes. So we decided to start this second day asking or discussing why Bitcoin is so important from a Latin American perspective. Because when you talk about Bitcoin for someone in the US or Europe, they see it more as an investment, probably. In Latin America, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, Bitcoin is a survival tool. And this is very deeply rooted on why La BitConf is what it is, this amazing community and all the different projects that got spawned from this community. But there's a very long history of people that contributed to Bitcoin, to this open monetary network that now El Salvador benefits from. So as many of you are newcomers to the space or just learning from Bitcoin, I thought it was interesting to go back a little bit in history and present you some of the thought leaders and people that worked for so many decades into creating the building blocks of this puzzle to make this possible. But it's amazing what happened in these 8 years since the first La BitConf that we had in 2013. Many of you don't know the story. 3 pioneers, Rodo, Dieguito, and Franco, got together in a shitty fast food in Buenos Aires, and they understood that Bitcoin could be a community project, that it was a grassroots movement that will not be accepted by governments. So the only chance that we had to succeed to develop a more open, neutral, and decentralized financial system was to build it from the ground up. So they said, we can build a Latin American community around Bitcoin and promote adoption. So fast forward 8 years, and we are here celebrating El Salvador as the first country adopting Bitcoin as legal tender. So it's amazing. You will hear that 1 year in the Bitcoin space counts as 7 years in real life, and it's true. It's amazing how fast everything evolves, and you will start to see it in El Salvador. We will talk about this day in a couple of years, and you will see everything that happened to El Salvador and its people since the Bitcoin law was enacted. So it's been an amazing journey, and I'm trying to dream what's this going to look like in 8 years. So we'll see, and I hope that in 8 years we're going to still be around, of course, with many more people that will keep on joining us on this amazing, revolutionary journey, as Rodo was saying. So this is the story of the cypherpunks. You've heard the word cypherpunk a couple of times already yesterday. These are some of the greatest minds that have been working relentlessly, trying to figure out ways to build a decentralized financial system that could empower individuals. So we had Nick Szabo. He created the concept of smart contracts, and he developed BitGold. Also, Wei Dai is a great contributor on cypherpunk who developed B-Money. I would encourage all of you to Google this and learn more about all these projects. All of them were in the right direction, but it was always a missing part. They were either too centralized or something else was missing, but every single one of them was taking ideas and trying to take it to the next level. David Chom as well, with the development of eCash, and of course, Adam Back, another good friend that has come to La BitConf several times with Hashcash. So one of the reasons probably why Satoshi decided to be anonymous, it's not only not to be in jail, as probably he would be, by trying to liberate ourselves and offer us a decentralized financial system, but also because his creation is the result of the ideas accumulated over decades from all these cypherpunks that have been contributing to this. So I would like to share a few quotes from different thought leaders that have inspired all of us, because this educational process that La BitConf has had over these 8 years is a way to give back what we've learned from others. So I would also encourage all of you to read the Cypherpunk Manifesto, where they say that privacy and freedom of speech are necessary for an open society in the electronic age. So they understood many decades ago that unless we had privacy and freedom, this financial digital system could lead us to even a worse situation than we were in the first place. So that's why they've been working relentlessly on trying to build Bitcoin. Hal Finney, it's another great idol or hero in the Bitcoin space. He was the first one that received a transaction from Satoshi, and he dreamt with a world where computers can be used to liberate and protect people rather than control them. So these are the thoughts and the ideas that are behind Bitcoin. So I thought it was very interesting to share this with you, because when you receive a technology imposed or suggested by your government, we know that governments periodically defraud us, so we are always skeptical. But in this particular case, the technology that the government of El Salvador had decided to push forward is a technology that has been built by freedom fighters over the decades. And some of them have suffered the consequences of being against the system. Rose Ulbricht, it's a freedom fighter that developed a peer-to-peer marketplace with no KYC and full obfuscation of the users. And he wanted to empower people to make choices of their lives and have privacy and anonymity. This sounds very revolutionary and crazy today, but this is how interactions and commerce worked for centuries and thousands of years. We always went to the market with our gold coins and silver coins, and we would exchange by whatever we want without anyone telling us whether it was right or wrong. But now Ross is in jail for the rest of his life. So, free Ross, yes, this is the message. Please, a big round of applause for him. And let's keep on fighting, because we are here benefiting from Bitcoin because of all these pioneers, many of them who are paying unfair situations, and we should remember them. Same thing with Assange. He said that if wars can be started by lies, they can be stopped by the truth. And this is extremely powerful. And you've heard several times that when we talk about Bitcoin, we talk about a peaceful revolution. Because what Bitcoin can do is take this statement to the next level. We've seen that truth is very important and exposing lies, trying to control this war machine. But it's even better if we can defund it. So when you opt by using Bitcoin instead of dollars or any fiat currency, you're basically defunding those war machines that can only be paid with money printing. No one, yes, go ahead, yes. Bitcoin is a peaceful revolution because no one in its right mind would ever pay taxes to throw bombs to some poor people on the other side of the world. The only way politicians can fund wars is by debasing our currency without us accepting it. So we need to keep on fighting for these pioneers and cypherpunks that are paying unfair justice, and hopefully we'll get them back free with us very soon. So, back to the original question of the presentation. Why we in Latin America understood Bitcoin? Why it was so clear for us that this could be a revolutionary technology? And I love this quote from Andreas Antonopoulos. I hope all of you know Andreas. He's one of the most inspirational leaders and speakers in the space. I would encourage you to Google his videos. He has more than 100,000 views or followers in his videos, and they're extremely sharp and clear. And Andreas, who came to La BitConf almost every year, told us that when he travels around the world, people ask him, why Bitcoin, why Bitcoin? When he comes to Latin America, people ask him, how Bitcoin? Because the why is super clear for us. So that inspired us on these questions and why it is so clear for us that we need Bitcoin. Well, the worse your financial system is, the more clear it is for you that you need another option. I'm from Argentina, and since we are children, we are taught by our parents and grandparents that we should never save in a local currency. We know that the government is always trying to debase our currency and fund deficits with that debasement. So when you have a long history of currency devaluations and hyperinflations, you're always looking for harder money. You're always looking for an exit, and the government is always trying to control and make sure that the most amount of people hold those pesos so they can debase them and collect what is called the inflationary tax, which is the only tax that can be passed and collected without us approving it. What can I say? Capital controls, we've seen them in Argentina all our lives. We're starting to see them now in the US. Debt defaults, we thought we were bad because we didn't pay our debts, but it's very easy to say that a Latin American country has a poor management because they do not pay their debts, when in the US they can just print whatever they want and buy our companies and buy our politicians and buy everything what they want, just not even with a money printer anymore, just typing numbers in an Excel. Then we need to work for generations selling our products and services to repay that imaginary debt that we somehow accepted. And then holding the burden of taxation because this is the only way we can repay. So the system has been programmed to be fully unfair. And this feeling that, regardless how much you work and regardless having a full life of effort, you still cannot afford a house or a relaxed retirement. It's because of this. While we keep on walking on this hill, taxation and the debasement of our currencies keep on pushing us backwards without us even knowing. So it was very clear for us in Latin America that Bitcoin was an option, was a solution, and a possibility to improve our lives and protect our life savings. But it's very difficult for most of us to understand that the same thing could happen to the dollar. So we've been told for 70 years that the dollar was like this secret thing that we could all trust, despite having lost 90% of its value in the last 50 years. And imagine what will happen with the value of the dollar after printing 40% of its total amount in the last 18 months. So I think what we have been saying that would happen, just COVID accelerated completely. And we need to tell our people, we need to tell everyone in Latin America and in Africa to prepare for what's happening. Because unless they take quick action, ourselves, our families, and our central banks will be depleted from any reserve. And Saifedean is a great thought leader in the Bitcoin space. If you haven't read the Bitcoin Standard, I encourage all of you to read it. It's been so eye-opening for all of us. And he explains us that it is impossible to insulate yourself from the consequences of others holding money that is harder than yours. This has happened to us in Argentina so many times. When you say, I want to be a patriot, I want to support my government, I want to hold my fiat currency, while they clap at you, they keep on printing and debasing your money. So this same thing applies to the dollar. So the faster we understand that in history, always the harder money works better and ends up winning, the better we are going to be. Also, Saifedean explains us that anything used as store of value will have its supplies increased, except for Bitcoin, right? Because Satoshi has coded it in a way that even if we want, we cannot increase the 21 million. So he took from our hands the possibility to do what has happened in the history of humankind, that every time something was used as store of value, whoever was in charge or had the possibility ended up increasing its supply. And when you increase the supply, everyone who has been using it as a store of value loses its purchase power. So it's a history that has been repeated over centuries, and we should learn from it, take like a broader perspective, forget what we've seen in the last 70 years, and when you analyze that every single empire in the history of humankind has lost has fallen in the same way, it gives you a pretty good idea of what we might be facing in the next couple of years and decades, so we can be prepared. So we've been talking about Bitcoin being Gold 2.0 for 7, 8 years now, sharing with every single person in Latin America, not only in the capital cities with La BitConf. We thought this is a grassroots movement. We need to let everyone know so they wake up from the matrix. That's why we call it the orange pill. So after so many years trying to get every single person invited and prepared for this devaluation on end of the fiat standard that we might be seeing soon, it's nice to see that now major CEOs of massive corporations, hedge funds, and central bankers are starting to understand that Bitcoin will become Gold 2.0. And it's the harder, the strongest, the fastest, and the smarter currency that has ever existed. Because in the past, it was just a bunch of crazy people. And now everyone that has billions of dollars or euros or any fiat currencies in their balance sheet feel how they are melting away every day. This is how being an Argentine feels like. Okay? We know that feeling, and it's sad to see that now the rest of the world is having that same experience. But many of us who are sitting on fiat currencies don't even think that our central banks are sitting on piles of dollars. We are somehow the musicians on the Titanic, sinking with the ship without even realizing what's happening. Sergio is a friend and a great thought leader also in the space. And I really like his vision how Bitcoin as a technological stack should serve billions of users. So the Gold 2.0 use case is extremely important, and that's why we are all maximalist deep in our core. But at the same time, we need to make sure that other technologies are built on top of Bitcoin as second layers, such as Lightning or Bitcoin sidechains, so we improve its scalability and programmability so billions of users can benefit from this technology as well. Otherwise, Bitcoin will be extremely expensive, its transactions will not be able to be afforded by people, regular people, and will be just used for central banks. And I think what we are experiencing is living today in El Salvador, paying pupusas with Lightning, it's a realization that these upper layers could make sure that the Bitcoin technological stack can serve any single use case that we've seen in the space so far. To finalize, I would love to finish with this quote from Jorge Valenzuela from Bitcoin Beach, who you will see tomorrow, right? This is a project that just, every time I listen to Jorge, I'm crying. It's a realization on how Bitcoin can help. But also, Bitcoin, it's just technology. It's the team at Bitcoin Beach who have used this tool in a project that was built to help teenagers in El Salvador, so they have an opportunity to stay in their country and to have a proper life here without the need of living somewhere else with everything to lose. What happened with the
You're set?
No, there was one more slide. Can we see one more slide? Romy?
It's nice. It's me.
It's you. It's you.
Yes, please.
Romy, can we see the slides?
Hay una donde estoy yo, a ver. Si no, no la pongas.
So, while we get the other remaining slides, I would like to ask you a question. How many of you would like to take a picture with Rodo dressed as an astronaut? Can you raise your hands? Okay, Rodo, can we get a public commitment to have you next to La Bitcoineta?
I think it's broken already.
Come on, come on. I want a picture with it as too.
Too hot.
Yes, I can tell.
Bueno, dale.
Okay, so
Espera, Romina, faltó una diapositiva.
yeah, I have the clicker. So make sure you follow and you learn what Bitcoin Beach has done. It's a true story on how this technology can really be used to empower people and to change the life of those who need it the most. So with this, I would like to officially welcome all of you who are, for the first time in La BitConf, to our family. I'm sure we're going to keep on seeing each other for years to come. Welcome to El Salvador and to Latin America that will be remembered, hopefully, in the years to come as the first country where hyper-Bitcoinization started and where this technology spawned this beautiful revolution to the rest of the world. Thank you very much.
Very well, very well. I think it was also a very motivational talk.